Chapter 27, Late Christmas Surprise and Preparing for Second Tournament. Early the next morning. I started to slowly wake up as I heard the sound of rushing water like waves coming ashore or something. I partly opened my eyes some to find myself lying closely against Severus, and I honestly feel so peaceful. I didn't want to move. I smiled as I looked to see there was a blanket on top of us and another one underneath. He had his right arm laid down so I would have a pillow of sorts. How sweet. I smiled as I opened my eyes more to my surroundings. I yawned and saw sand. Wait, sand? Water? Why am I on a beach? How in the bloody hell did I end up here? The last thing I remember is falling asleep on Severus' shoulder in the woods that were near the restaurant we went to. I sat up suddenly, realizing I was still in my outfit from the Yule Ball, and Severus sat up as well, as he was waking up. I looked over at him in wonder as I noticed that the sun hadn't fully come up yet, meaning it was barely dawn. At least I didn't wake up too late, but I need to get some answers first before I do anything else. He stood up as he looked at me fondly. "Surprise, Miranda?" I asked curiously, "Where are we, and how did we get here, Severus?" He held his hand out as he helped me to stand up, as he watched me closely. "This is Sunrise Beach, Miranda. It's a place that is known as the best sunrises around." "Oh yeah, I think I read about this place once in a book that I found when I was young while Hermione and I were at the library. I hope to come here one day after reading about it and seeing a few pictures. That is why I decided to bring you here. I don't normally do this, but for you, I would. You've started to create a kind spot within me to release itself, Miranda." A big smile formed on my face as he smiled kindly at me, clearly knowing I was in awe. I truly cannot believe how quickly things seem to be turning around. Maybe Severus is starting to have a change of heart after all when it comes to me. I'm speechless. I can't believe you did all of this for me. The private use of the restaurant late last night to the walk in the woods, and waking up here at this gorgeous place. He looked at me and smiled as I couldn't believe how much kinder and softer he seemed to be around me all of a sudden. "Have I turned you into a softie?" I asked. "Maybe," he simply responded with a small smile. He came up to me and laid a kiss on top of my forehead as he then folded up the blankets and placed them somewhere in his robe. I asked, "Why did you bring me here, though?" "Because this is my late Christmas present to you. Like I stated, I don't normally do this like this, but I wanted to prove." He walked towards me and wrapped his arms around me tightly as I snuggled against his chest. I didn't know what to say. I was really speechless. I thought Severus would hand me a wrapped-up gift or something, not to end up waking up on one of the most beautiful beaches around. I honestly wonder how the bloody hell Severus knew that I always wanted to come here. No one knows about it except me. I wonder. Just then I saw some light with the corner of my eye, so Severus and I let go of each other and walked near the shoreline. We stood there side by side, watching the sun come up. I was hesitant to grab and hold on to his hand, and I guess he must have felt it, because he softly grabbed my hand. We smiled at each other as I grasped onto his hand, not saying a word. If I could ask someone to paint it for me to frame it, I bloody would in a heartbeat. It was absolutely beautiful. No words can even begin to describe it, and I never thought I would be here at this age. "This is truly beautiful," I muttered, completely hypnotized by the sight in front of me. "It surely is," he responded as he lightly smiled, and I saw him glance at me from the corner of my eye. I looked up at him in awe. I couldn't have asked for anything more right now. This means a lot to me, Severus. It does. "Anything for you, Miranda. This is the most amazing gift I could have ever wanted. It's even more beautiful than I have ever imagined. Thank you so much, Severus, for doing this. I don't even know how to thank you for all this." He grabbed me, wrapped his arms around me, and looked into me. "I had to do this for you, Miranda. It's the least I could do. No gift, nor something as amazing as this, can show you how much I've grown to love and care for you. Whether I fully admit it or not, I cannot deny it any longer. I may not show it or care at times, but I truly do have these feelings for you. Truth be told, if I may say so, you're even more beautiful than the sunrise." Oh my goodness, did that really just come out of his mouth? That is so sweet of him to say that, considering who Severus Snape is. I'm pretty sure my face is red as a cherry, and my eyes lit up like a puppy dog. He really must be growing to love and care for me after all. A big smile ran across my face, realizing how amazing of a man he could be if he continued to act the way he had been. Merry Christmas, Miranda. I smiled and responded, Merry Christmas, Severus. He smiled back at me as we both kissed softly. His kiss felt soft, passionate, and sweet, different from the other times we kissed. I kissed him back and let go, and I smiled and hugged him as we both stood there, enjoying the sunrise. Severus, can I ask you something? Of course. Why the sudden change of heart with everything? You seem different. You mean after we stopped denying how we felt and decided to try out a secret relationship? I nodded my head as he responded, Truth be told, I was acting cruel to make you hate me in a way that I hoped would get rid of whatever you felt for me. But after realizing from Albus that we each needed to stop it all and just face the truth, I realized it wouldn't be so hard to try and be happy. All I want is to make you happy in the end. I looked up at him as he looked at me. You do make me happy, Severus, despite everything. Can we maybe have a fresh start and things from here on out and leave what happened to be in the past? He kissed my forehead lightly and responded, I would like nothing more than that. I don't know where our relationship will take us, but as long as we remain on the same path, all will be well. To be honest, Severus, that's all I want and can ask for. He grabbed my chin and made me look at him. Then I'll continue to be the best person I can be for you. That includes thinking of things that'll make you happy. You're bringing out a side of me that I thought didn't exist. I couldn't help but smile as we stared into each other's eyes. I know I'm not someone to admit feelings and hide them, but I believe I'm falling for you, Miranda. My smile grew bigger as he laid his hand against my cheek, and I gazed into his eyes. I'm falling in love with you too, Severus. We smiled brightly at each other and continued to stay in a close embrace while standing by the water, listening to a rush to the shore and seeing the sunrise. A few minutes later, he said, We should get back before it gets any later. I nodded my head as we made sure we had everything, and we both held out another port key. We both hung on tightly as we were on our way back to Hogwarts. A minute later, before I knew it, we were back outside the school. I walked a couple of steps and stopped as he was about to walk away when he turned to look at me sternly but also softly. I said, Thank you for everything, Severus. I had a great time. He walked closer to me, grabbed my hand, and kissed it as he responded, So did I. It was my pleasure. I giggled as he let go of my hand, and I could still feel his kiss on top of my hand. Don't forget that you can only tell your friends about us, he muttered. I grabbed his hand to reassure him. Don't worry about it, Severus. I'll tell them only, I promise, and they won't say a thing to an outsider. Don't worry. He smiled and kissed my cheek as he sighed with relief. I love you, Miranda, he suddenly said softly. My eyes got wide as I felt like my heart was gleaming with joy. I love you too, Severus. We smiled at each other as he let go of my hand, said goodbye, and walked into the school. I waited a couple of minutes after he left, and then I quickly started to walk to the Gryffindor common room. Along the way, Professor Dumbledore passed by me and he smiled cheerfully. Well, good morning, Miranda, and I hope you enjoyed your holiday. Good morning and happy holiday to you, Professor. I enjoyed my holiday. We smiled at each other as he excused himself and walked away. I continued to walk to the common room as I set the password in the picture. When I went in there, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Fred, George, Neville, and Ginny were all sitting around by the fireplace talking. They turned around and looked at me excitedly. I went up to them happily. Hey guys, happy late Christmas. They suddenly got up one by one and hugged me. Fred said, Group hugs, everyone. I laughed and smiled. Aw, I love you guys so much. They said at the same time, We love you too, Miranda, and happy late Christmas. We just looked at one another and laughed. Once we all sat back down around the fire, Hermione and I were sitting side by side. She asked, So, how was your evening with Snape, Miranda? Everyone suddenly got quiet and looked at me. We want an update, Ron stated. Well, I stopped for a second but continued. You guys should probably know that the other night before the ball, I had detention with them. Well, let's just say that we kept talking about something and I ended up crying. Soon Dumbledore came in and held me to comfort me while Snape said something. I told them what happened with Severus and me and everything following that, including that surprising gift. They were all a little surprised about everything, most of the fact of how he decided to surprise me. So, is it official between the two of you? George asked. I shrugged my shoulders. I believe so. Yeah, we're taking things step by step, but he actually told me he loved me, or is falling in love with me in some aspect. So, that counts. I looked at Harry since he was beside me. Are you fine with all of this since everything between us, Harry? I don't want to ruin our friendship. You mean too much to me. Harry grabbed my hand and squeezed it for reassurance. I'm positive it is fine. You don't have to worry. I'll always be here for you, Miranda, no matter what. Don't forget that. I squeezed his hand lightly and smiled as he smiled too. Spending some time with my friends and talking was what I needed right now. I couldn't be happier. A month and a half later, Harry had told me, Hermione, and Ron that he had figured out the egg from the first test, but I'm not starting to wonder otherwise. It's now February, and things aren't too bad, honestly. Cedric and I have become decent friends, talking here and there. He's a sweet guy. Severus and I have been doing great, actually, too. All of my friends are keeping the secret of our relationship, and even though they aren't the biggest fans of him, they'll still support me no matter what. I'm happy with the way things have been going with Severus and I hope it continues to be that way. Currently, I was hanging out with Hermione, walking outside when we came across Harry, so we're on the bridge outside school talking, especially since Hermione has been with Victor lately as well. Meanwhile, I've been with Severus off and on secretly when I can, and I've been trying to hang close to Harry for support, since it took ages for people in our house to even do so. How are things with Snape going lately, Miranda? You haven't said much about it, Hermione asked me. Things are going decently well, trying to keep it on the down low, but I'm happy. I really am. He's been doing well in the way he treats me and even secretly looks out for me to try and keep me out of trouble. When it's just me and him, he appears a lot different than how he tends to appear. Overall, things are good considering how he treated me for Valentine's Day with that huge rose bouquet and a box of chocolates. We're happy for you, Miranda. You know that, right? Harry said. I know you guys are. I don't know what I would do without friends like you all. I looked at them and smiled as they smiled back. Then Hermione asked Harry the truth about the egg, and he stated that he hadn't fully figured it out yet, which caught me by surprise. Harry, you told me you figured the egg out weeks ago, Hermione stated. You do know, Harry, that the second task is in 2 days, right? I chipped in. Really? I had no idea. He responded as he looked over at Hermione. I suppose Victor's already figured it out. I wouldn't know. We actually didn't talk about the tournament. Actually, we didn't really talk at all. Victor's more of a physical being. She started to laugh as Harry and I smiled, and she corrected herself. I just mean, he's not particularly... Mostly, he watches me study. It's a bit annoying, actually. I can understand why. It would creep me out a little or annoy me if someone was constantly staring at me while I was trying to study. Admiring me is one thing, but staring for too long is another. Yeah, she muttered in response. Harry didn't say anything as Hermione said, You're trying to figure this egg out, aren't you? We stared at each other until Harry asked, What's that supposed to mean? Hermione responds, These eyes are supposed to test you in the most brutal way. They're almost cruel. She loops around him as she looks at me, then at him, as I stand beside Harry. And I'm scared for you. You got by the dragon mostly on nerve. I'm not sure it's going to be enough this time. I'm scared for you too, Harry. You need to be cautious, I added as I looked at him. Before anyone could respond, we heard, Hey, Potter. I looked and noticed it was Cedric, as Hermione and I watched Harry walk over to Cedric. I stood next to Hermione now, as Cedric noticed me from afar and waved at me and said, Hey, Miranda. I waved back with a small smile and responded, Hi, Cedric. Seeing Harry busy with Cedric, Hermione and I watched him and soon walked away.